And as we're talking about emotional experiences in families, parents, um, during the Christmas season, of course, children are off school for quite a long time. So there's a kind of, the house is fuller, there's more pressure getting your work done with your perhaps teenagers or smaller children around. And then there's the actual Christmas day and the build up and the presents and the food. So much emotion can probably get tied up. So, what are some key advice that you could give families going into this time?
Well, I would consider how you can take the pressure off. Because I used to be amazing at putting the pressure on, almost thinking like, oh, we just need this bit to be perfect, and we can have this lovely meal as well, and we can do this with the kids, and they'll love that. And then when mother-in-law comes, we can do this as well. And it was all kind of really, it was a lovely idea beforehand, but actually translated just to loads of pressure that was completely unrealistic. And I think because if we're lucky enough to have been brought up in a house where Christmas was actually, quite fun and exciting when we were kids, I think you often have this into adulthood then, don't you, where, you really want Christmas to live up to the happy bit of the title of Happy Christmas, and you really want to give everybody a lovely time. But what I've realised is that quite often I was being completely unrealistic about what Christmas was going to be like. And actually, as parents, we're amazing navigating Christmas with our kids, because there's so much to kind of, like you say, so many things going on. And the Christmas day itself, they're high as a kite on sugar, aren't they? Or I just remember looking at the clock on Christmas Day when my two were little and thinking, oh my goodness, it was only like 6:45 in the morning, and I felt like I'd done a day already, because they're so excited, aren't they? And, amazing. It's amazing they're so excited. But yeah, I think one of the things I learned to do was be a little bit more realistic before times about what Christmas was going to look like, what we could kind of realistically manage, what would be sustainable and doable. Whereas I used to kind of go into my excited mode of trying to think of all the lovely things we could cram in. And so I would offer I've learned that less is more. And just having a realistic thought ahead of time about how much is going to be doable, what might that look like, and actually what do we really want to prioritize. And I think I didn't used to think ahead. I would just kind of navigate it as best I could in the moment. And I think making some of those choices ahead of time in terms of what we were going to prioritize and how was really helpful, took quite a lot of pressure off and made it more realistic, and actually gave us the chance to really enjoy the things we chose to prioritize, because less was more, I suppose.
I love that. Less is definitely more. And I've always had that experience when if you've been invited to two parties, for example, or you've got two things on the same day, and if you try to cram them both in, I mean, it could be amazing, and if you can pull it off, power to you. But often what would happen is you half enjoy both of the things that you've crammed in. And then if you'd done less, you would have had that full enjoyment of the one thing. And I imagine that's the same with Christmas. So you kind of think we keep it really simple. You could be fully present. You don't get stressed because there's other stuff you need to be going to. Um, yeah, and you can enjoy that moment so much more. I love that.
Yes. And I would probably also consider going through Christmas, now that mine are a little bit older. I've found that building in kind of pressure relief time during Christmas Day and those immediate days where I just know that, emotions are high. There's going to be moments where we just need to take a bit of a break. People might just need to have a bit of space for a minute, or head outside for a bit of fresh air. Actually, what I've found too is just building in kind of that idea ahead of time that we might need a bit of pressure release time, kind of pocketed between the days as well.